Jesus really kind of cuts through it and exposes the real issue here, which is that their hearts were far from God, that they cared more about the rules than they did about the intent of the rules. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Coffee with Connect. We get together on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30, and we get into God's Word together. We have our coffee, and my mug today is a new mug from Cedar Point from their new ride called Siren's Curse. As you may or may not know, we're kind of doing a Cedar Point mug theme here on Coffee with Connect for a few episodes till I run out of Cedar Point mugs, which I have quite a few. But this is a brand new one. My son Lincoln went up and got to ride the new ride. And this is actually a color changing mug, but my coffee is apparently not hot enough it actually is coffee today, just in case you're wondering. But it's not hot enough anymore to make it color change, because the whole ride shows up on the mug when the coffee's hot enough, but it's just kind of lukewarm right now. So I guess it's got to be blazing hot coffee for it to work, but it's pretty cool. So thanks, Link. And I thank you for joining me here. We've got a new chapter we're going to be starting in the book of Mark. We're going into Mark chapter 7. So this 16-chapter book, the shortest of the four Gospels here, that we're going through a verse at a time. And we're looking at Mark chapter 7, verses 1 through 8 today. We're going to pray, read, think, write, and do. And I think we're going to see something that applies to a lot of us, and even a trap that many of us have the tendency to fall into. So I hope that you've prayed and asked the Lord to show you something. Now let's read in Mark chapter 7, verses 1 through 8. It says this: The Pharisees and some of the teachers of the law who had come from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus and saw some of his disciples eating food with hands that were defiled, that is, unwashed. The Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they give their hands a ceremonial washing, holding to the tradition of the elders. When they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And they observe many other traditions, such as washing of cups and pitchers and kettles. So the Pharisees and the teachers of the law asked Jesus, "Why don't your disciples live according to the tradition of the elders, instead of eating their food with defiled hands?" He replied, "Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you hypocrites. As it is written, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules. You have let go of the commands of God and are holding on to human traditions." Yikes. So think about it this way. What is most important when it comes to the rules? Is it the rule or the intent of the rule? My dad was a basketball official for 30 years in the area, and he actually taught refs how to ref. And so he talked to me a lot, and I went to a lot of games with him, and we talked a lot about the rules and officiating, because as a basketball official, you're hated by half the crowd in every game that you're at. So there's times where I would ask him, man, you got booed on that, on that call. What was the deal? And things like that. And I remember one of the things he would tell me is he would say, that might be the rule, but what's the intent of the rule? And it's an important perspective to have on basketball, but also a good way to think about the law and what the Bible has to say about how we live. Jesus calls us to a surrendered heart to him, not just clean hands and rule followers. What's the intent of what God is asking us to do or to not do? What's the intent of the rule? I think it's a really important thing to ask, because this is a confrontation here, as we've read, between two very different values: religious tradition versus genuine relationship with God. What do you think the intent of the rules that God put in was? Was it to just be religious tradition, or genuine relationship with God, to be a part of our relationship with a holy, perfect God? The Pharisees were really upset, not because Jesus' disciples sinned, but actually because Jesus and his disciples didn't follow their man-made rules. To them, clean hands were a sign of spiritual purity and all of that, but Jesus really kind of cuts through it and exposes the real issue here, which is that their hearts were far from God, that they cared more about the rules than they did about the intent of the rules. And Jesus quotes Isaiah saying here, they honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Boom. He was right. And it's a scary thought. It's a scary thought that you can go to church and you can sing the songs and you can say all the right things and still have a heart that is distant from God. What Jesus is really saying is this, that God doesn't want performance. He wants your heart. He's not impressed by your outward rituals or any of that, especially if the inward reality isn't love and surrender and trust. And it's so easy to slip into that, isn't it? The Pharisees clung to their tradition so tightly that they were missing the fact that the living God was standing right in front of them. So what about you? Are you more concerned with looking spiritual as opposed to being spiritual? Are we more focused on our behavior or on transformation? So what's God saying to you through this? What do you need to write down for yourself? Where do you maybe need to take a step back and be honest about where you are on this rules versus the intent? This whole thing is really, should be at least, deeply introspective for you. What do you do with this? I think we all need to take time often to ask, is my heart close to God? Or have I just been going through the motions? I would encourage you to ask the Lord that in your prayer time. God, is my heart close to you, or have I just been going through the motions? And show me what that is. Spend some quiet time analyzing where you are with him. Has it just become routine? If it's just become routine, that's a little bit of a red flag there. Ask him to draw you back to a sincere and intimate walk with him. Jesus doesn't want your empty rituals. He wants your heart. So don't settle for surface level faith. Let go of the performance you think you have to put on or whatever, and just pursue a real relationship with him, because when your heart is close to Jesus, everything else flows from there. So thanks for joining me. I hope that you'll like the video, you'll subscribe to the channel, share this with someone that needs it, and join me again here next time so we can have our coffee and connect to Christ's community, purpose, and God's Word together.